All right. Welcome back, family. Welcome back. All right. So we've been dealing with the Iran US conflict. And now we're going to look at this. Why does Iran hate America? Because folks have been, making the reason that why the U.S. went in and should go in is because Iran hate America. And they say things, or they have said, like death to America. That's what Iran has said. And for that reason, they say America should go in. But let's try to understand why. Why does Iran hate America? Did they just wake up, one morning and feel like they just wanted to hate somebody? Or did something happen? So through all of the talk and through all of my interactions with you all, which have been some really good interactions through all of the mixed emotions and different opinions and feelings that other people have, had about this, I decided to dig a little deeper, and get into, the research. So I found something called Operation Ajax. Operation Ajax. This is the reason why Iran hates America. This is why they say what they say with regards to America. So, key details regarding the motivation and outcome, I'm going to go over that, with you. We're going to look at propaganda methods. We're going to deal with long-term geopolitical consequences. Okay? And we're also going to have, people to come up on, the stage. We'll have, guests. And those are a few things we're going to look at with respect to why Iran hate America. Because it's like some people feel as if it's pointless or it's vain, or they just woke up one day and, just started saying, these things. So like I said, I want to read to you guys about Operation Ajax and kind of go through a little bit of history centered around what the CIA and what the MI6, what they did. And historically, why Iran says, like, death to America. And then you all can decide, whether, that's valid or not. Right? So, thank you all for coming into the live. Man, we're just getting started. And you all, thank you for tapping the screen. Share the live, repost the live, because just like always, this is going to be a phenomenal discussion as people come up on the stage and they will be able to share their thoughts, as well. Operation Ajax, you all. Write it down, right? Follow what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain why Iran hate America. Then you all can determine whether it's pointless or, whether it's an understandable hate. I don't think, I've never heard of Operation Ajax. All right, so again, with Operation Ajax, you all, I'm going to go over key details regarding motivation and outcome. I'm going to go over propaganda methods. We're going to look at long-term geopolitical consequences. And then, we'll open up the stage. All right? How about that? All right, so let's jump off, into it. Share the live, you all. Share the live. Tap the screen. The Daily Heart Me is right there. So Operation Ajax, 1953, was primarily used by the U.S., CIA, and the UK, MI6, to regain control over Iran's oil industry. You all, this was in 1953. And we're looking to understand why Iran say they hate the U.S. Okay? So this was to regain control over Iran's oil industry, right? So here we go again. Fast forward, to this day where some of you have said it's not about oil. This is just a repeat within history. This is just old practices, old strategies, resurfacing. Generations later, political theater being played out, all over again, right? But here, it said the coup overthrew Prime Minister Mohammed Mossadegh, who had nationalized the British-controlled oil industry in 1951. This is where the confrontation started back in the 50s. It's been unresolved since then. And see, a number of you, a number of us, I wasn't born then. We weren't born during that time. So we really don't have any idea or understanding as to what happened, during that time. Right? Hector just popped up on the stage. Hector, you know about Operation Ajax? Okay. I just removed Hector, off the stage. He couldn't talk. All right, so the British controlled oil industry in 1951. That's where we left off. The operation reinstated the Shah, ensuring Western access to Iranian oil. This was in the 50s, you all. And you all are trying to act like this is not what it's about today. They're still jockeying and trying to recapture something that they lost. But we're trying to understand why Iran feels like they hate America, or they chant, they have this chant saying, DEATH to America. And a number of people are offended by that, but they don't know the history. They don't know what happened to the people. Now, I'm just going into the history, trying to understand the dynamics. I'm sick of being played by the media and the narrative traps, and so I'm well over that. I want to be able to talk about it for what it is. All right, so here are the key details regarding the motivations and outcome. And this is about Operation Ajax. 1953. All right. Nationalization catalyst. Right. The crisis began when Iran nationalized the Anglo-Iranian Oil Company. Western control. The goal was to reverse this nationalization and protect foreign energy interests. You all, that's exactly what they're doing right now today. And some of you have said it's not about the oil. You've tried to make it like it's about some moral high ground. Ooh, we're going to keep reading because some of the tactics that they're using today are some of the same tactics that they used then. It's just that we weren't born around that time, so we were out of the loop. We don't know nothing about that. But thanks to the internet and the ability to research, we can pull these things up and come to understand what happened, why it happened, and now, as they've released, certain files, we come to understand the games, that they're playing. All right. So we're getting ready to get into the geopolitical factors, but got somebody that just came up on the stage. Is that Aldi? If you're talking, Aldi, I can't hear you. Okay, we're gonna put Aldi down because Aldi can't hear either. All right. So let's look at the Western controls. Okay, no, we did that. We're going into the geopolitical factors. While officially cited by the CIA as a move to prevent a communist takeover, the primary driver was restoring control over oil resources. Come on, y'all. This is like the same blueprint being played over and over again. It's just in that time, this was like what they call it, sealed or top secret or information that they would not talk about at that time. But after so many years, they released the records. So now we have the records, but we can also come to understand this is a repeat. We can see exactly what they're doing right now. So let's look at the lasting impacts. So the coup led to 26 years of dictatorship under the Shah, ultimately contributing to the 1979 revolution. So we're trying to understand why Iran hates America and they scream DEATH to America. Are they just insane? Or do they really have a reason for their disgust? And is it us that's tripping, thinking the U.S. have some right to go in and interfere with another sovereign nation's affairs? Lasting impacts. We read that. The revolution. So this is when Iran became the Islamic Republic of Iran. I guess I needed to point out that before that, Persia, right? Persia was, that's who Iran was. I guess I should have led and or started out. That's who they are. Biblically, they are the Persians. Okay? So I forgot that little note, right there. But Um, so Iran became the Islamic Republic of Iran, claiming the supreme leader as Ayatollah. So I find out Ayatollah means sign of God. And that's how the Islamic world that's how the Islamic world saw Ali Khamenei. And a number of you feel like the US is just so far in the head and they've got this thing in the bag. They're so strong and they can't be touched. In the background, you all, the Islamic world is being galvanized and they are they're uniting. Okay, not too much is being explained in the sense of our media over here, but we've been made aware that on other international news channels that the Islamic world is kind of rallying, behind Iran. And this is going to be ugly. Now, I'm not sitting up here trying to say and or predict that this is going to be, the conflict or the third world conflict. I'm not saying that. Okay. But we're trying to understand why Iran, why they hate America. I thank you all for coming, into the live. Y'all tap the screen. It don't cost you nothing to tap the screen. I mean, we got a gang of people in the house, checking out everything. The Daily Heart Me is up there. We're going to open up the stage. The stage is open, right now, but I do want to get through this little bit of research that I did to kind of lay the foundation as to why Iran hates America, why they shout DEATH to Americans. So Operation Ajax was a watershed moment in Cold War history characterized by sophisticated psychological warfare and profound long-term geopolitical shifts. This is what I'm telling you. You all, the political theater and the narrative traps, these are games that most people don't understand. So let's look at some of the propaganda method. Now, the research went deep, it went long, so I just kind of condensed it to where I can kind of jump on it from, this standpoint right here. Propaganda methods. Let's consider that. The propaganda methods. See, what does he say? We understand why they hate America, and it ain't right. Okay. And let's see, who is this? This is, who said that? All right, enter Kingpin NYC. For you, this is exactly why I'm doing this research right here, because you say we know why and it ain't right. I'm not sure if you've ever looked at Operation Ajax. And if somebody did this to you and or your family, how would you take it? Just being, level-headed and understanding from all sides, because you just want to say it ain't right just because you want to be right. Well, we should be more mature than that. Let's look at some history. Let's look at some events. And let's try to come to understand that the hands of this American government or this U.S. government, they are not clean. And y'all need to stop defending these people in their criminal element. It's in freaking insane. Operation Ajax, you all. Now we're looking at the propaganda methods. The CIA and MI6 executed multi-layered propaganda campaigns to delegitimize Prime Minister Mohammed Mossadegh and create a sense of national chaos. Same thing they're doing today. Same thing. Media infiltration. We're talking about the propaganda methods, you all. Real stuff. This is what they did back in the 50s. This is what they did, in or during the revolution. Was that in 79? These are the games that they play. And at that time, it was considered, the top secret or couldn't be, revealed. Well, now those records have been revealed. Excuse me, y'all. Those records have been revealed. So media infiltration, same thing. We see it happening today. The CIA spent approximately 150K. That was a massive sum of money at that time. Okay, so I guess now they're spending millions, right? So they spent 150K at that time, which was a lot. Now they're spending millions, right, to bribe Iranian journalists and editors. Now, this makes me think about this one Iranian woman. Don't remember what her name is, but she's a journalist, and she's been all over the U.S. media, and she's been, she's all over the U.S. media, and she's been, talking about how great of a job the U.S. is doing and how we don't understand, what's happening. So it would appear like she could very well be one of the ones that they're paying, her to function and or say the things that she's saying. Right? So to bribe journalists and editors to hammer specific anti Mossadegh themes in local newspapers. So right now, today, it's not about him, but it was about the Ayatollah, or it was about the Iranian government. So these are the themes that, from the standpoint of the propaganda, that we're consistently getting. And it's not legit from the standpoint of organically happening. CIA and other governmental agencies are behind it. Not only are they bribing Iranian journalists, but they're bribing American journalists and editors as well to hammer specific points. Come on, y'all. Let's just be real, with respect to, to what's happening. We're talking about Operation Ajax. You all can look it up in your own time. What do you say here? Okay. All right, we still got people trying to come up on the stage. All right, so I just left off at the media infiltration. I will go into narrative framing. And you all, that ties into where you heard me talking about the political theater and the narrative trap. So I'm just giving a little history to try to make certain that we understand it. I'll pick back up at the narrative framing, but we got, let's see, who we got? Trucking CEO?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, trucking CEO, real quick. I'm in the middle of reading this research on Operation Ajax. You ever heard of Operation Ajax?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll get back to it. What did you want to say?
Honestly, I just joined the live. I didn't really hear what was going on earlier, but I do like this question though because most people say, "Oh, Iran says, death to America, whatever, blah 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 blah. But nobody asks why or is there animosity, you know? So
Well, that's what I'm trying to answer. Right now, I'm looking to answer the question. I'm gonna put you on mute right here. You can stay on the stage. Right now, I'm looking to answer that question, and what I found as to why they say the things they say, it's because of what happened back in the 50s. It started in the 50s. Okay? And Operation Ajax is a good point for anybody to go and look up and understand. Now, I picked the points that I wanted to talk about from the sequence of research so that I could have the conversation and then try to open the stage, right? So, right now, going into the narrative framing, the propaganda focused on three main claims: that Masaga D was a communist sympathizer or a puppet of the Soviet-backed Tudeh party. So, we can see how, even in this time and day through the propaganda, they've done similar things to the Iranian government in this day and time with the media campaigns or the slander, campaigns, okay? Um, he was an enemy of Islam, aiming to turn religious leaders against him. He was deliberately destroying the morale and unity of Iranian military. False flag operations, right? Agent provocateurs were hired to pose as Tudeh communist members, right? These mobs, so like they were paying mobs during that time. Today we call them terrorist organizations. You all, ain't nothing changed. They're still functioning in this manner and or way behind the curtain, behind the veil, and Americans are just credulous, eating it all up because it came across CNN, NBC, CBS, ABC, BBC, and we're just being manipulated. But let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, these mobs, which would march through Tehran shouting communist slogans, looting shops, and desecrating religious sites to terrify the public into believing a communist takeover was imminent. Do you all see any parallels with respect to how they were doing things then? Now, the jargon is different because they don't too much talk about communists, anymore now, but the intent is still the same. All right, paid mobs. The CIA hired street gangs, and that's what I said. Then they were considered street gangs. Today, they're considered terrorist organizations. This is what I mean. The jargon, the vernacular has changed, but the intent, the strategy, it's still the same. Operation Ajax just got a new name. That's all. Same concepts. Their whole aim is to interfere with the sovereignty of the company, of the country, so that they can regain control over the oil. That's what it was about then. That's what it's about now. Street gangs and athletic celebrities. All right. And they would intimidate Masagadi supporters. Now let's look at radio control. Seizing the national radio station was a crucial tactical goal, as it allowed the coup leaders to broadcast victory messages. And this is, kind of what, we see how the U.S. is trying to broadcast, victory, on their side, as if, this thing is in the bag. And it's just not so, you all. To broadcast victory messages and direct the public's outrage towards Masaga D. Now, this was the leader during that time, in Iran. So, like we said today, it's someone else. So we got Prayer Incorporated just came on the line. I'm not sure if you were listening to the conversation and you know what we're talking about. Have you heard about Operation Ajax?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, it would be good. That's what I'm reading about right now to kind of give definition to why Iran hate Americans. But
Well,
did you
I mean,
want
I
to?
can listen, but I was just wondering, do you think that it's the ends playing against the middle? That, have you seen a documentary called Everything's a Rich Man's Game?
I have not.
Oh, it's very well worth your time. It's like 3 hours long. And the reason I bring that up is because I find it interesting that I don't think we've had. I think this is like the maybe second war under the Republicans, but this whole Iran thing started with the Democrats, right?
Um, no, well, according to this, the Iran thing started back in the 50s.
Oh, yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Us actually being involved in that war. Because wasn't it Jimmy Carter that got the Nobel Peace Prize for administering like peace with Iran and Israel?
Okay.
And isn't it interesting that they are at war today, right? Again, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so what I'm
Okay.
saying is that now, and I'm not Republican nor Democrat, but believe me, I think that the all sides are going to benefit from this. And that's why I'm listening to you, because I want to gain more knowledge, but I'm not fooled that the powers that be engineered this thing. That's just
Okay.
my take on it.
Okay.
But what
What
about
was
Ajax?
the name of that documentary again?
It's 3 hours long, and it's Everything's a Rich Man's Game.
Okay. And oh my goodness,
What's up?
they they just sent me a warning right here, restricting the live. I'm trying to see what they're saying.
It could be because of the WAR. I said that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
I apologize.
Okay. Let me see. I don't see it. Says live is recommended and restricted in search results for the next 10 minutes because your live does not comply with the For You feed eligibility standards.
Oh, that's interesting.
They said I'm giving misinformation.
Oh, somebody must have falsely reported you.
Okay, they said I'm giving misinformation, but they can report it. I'm just reading, the things that I pulled off
Yeah,
based on
but you know
Operation.
America.
Yeah.
You know how
Okay,
America is.
one more time. One more time. I apologize. One more time. The name of the
The documentary,
yeah.
Everything's a Rich Man's Game.
Everything
It's
is a
it's
rich
going to
man.
be about 3.5 hours long, but it's very informative.
Okay. One other thing I was going to ask you about that. Everything is a rich man's game. Type it in the chat for me. And um, which outlet do you get this on? Netflix,
YouTube,
YouTube.
if
Okay.
it's still
Everything is a rich
available.
man's game. Okay. All right. I'll look for it. I'll look for it. So at this point, you guys, the live is actually dropping with our members and everything. So if you all will share the live for the next 10 minutes, they say we are being restricted because I'm sharing Operation Ajax. They consider it to be misinformation, but I'm gonna continue, to read based on, what I found. And the good thing is, um, I'm telling you what it is. You can go and research it for yourself, and you'll see the same things will come up explaining what transpired, in the 50s or surrounding Operation Ajax. All right. So I'm gonna put you on mute here for a minute, Prayer Incorporated, and I'm gonna continue to look at this little bit of research I got right here until my restriction is over. Okay, so radio control. Oh, and put the name of that documentary again for me. Oh, there you go. You did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. All right. So radio control, seizing. Okay, I did that. All right. Let's look at long-term geopolitical consequences. Okay. Long-term geopolitical consequences. In 1953, the coup solved a short-term oil crisis, but sowed the seeds for a decade of regional instability. Established by the Islamic Republic, the coup dismantled Iran's secular, moderate democratic movement. The Shah subsequently 26 years automatically ruled, and its reliance on the brutal secret police, which was, I guess, the Savak, I created deep-seated resentment that fueled the 1979 Islamic Revolution. Okay? Enduring anti-American. All right, so now we're looking at enduring anti-American. All right, so the 1979 revolution replaced a Western-friendly monarch with a fanatically anti-American theocracy. The shift transformed Iran from a key U.S. ally into a primary regional adversary, leading to events like the Iran hostage crisis. Now, I remember the Iran hostage crisis, but during that time in my life, I had really no idea, like, really what it was about. But some critics say it was because the Iranians found out that the American embassy was being used to spy, on or to spy in their country. So that was, the reason they went in and did what they did. I don't know. That's, just what the speculation, is around that time, and when the Iran, when the hostage crisis took place. Okay, so let's look at the coup blueprint. And we're talking about Project Ajax, you all. All right, so Operation Ajax became the successful template for future CIA-backed regime changes, including the 1954 coup in Guatemala. So I'm not making this stuff up, right? I'm not putting out any misinformation or trying to mislead anyone. I'm just speaking to you all about some research that, I've pulled up, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay. And it says interventions in the Congo and Chile. So this blueprint talking about Operations Ajax, y'all, this thing is on wash, rinse, and repeat. How can we believe anything, that's being expressed and or, promoted? For real. That you'll get your feelings and your emotions, all into it to where it got you hating somebody. Okay, so here, let's look at shift in global oil control. Because again, that's the underlying factor behind the operation, is having control over this oil. The spice must flow, right? While it while it reversed the nationalization, control shifted from a British monopoly to a Western consortium. This intervention signaled to other rich nations that the West would use covert force to protect its energy interests. So this was radicalizing resource nationalism elsewhere. Now let's look at Middle East destabilization. Okay? All right, so Middle East destabilization right here. Historians argue that the removal of a secular democratic leader in the Middle East, that tilted the regional balance away from freedom and towards either military dictatorship or radical religious movement. And that's really all, I have based on the research that I decided to share. I'm gonna keep looking into it because this conflict is going to be going, on for a minute. I did want to read out of the book of Daniel, though. And out of the book of Daniel, he says, the wicked, Daniel 12 and 10, he says, the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand. It's like we can go through all of this and look for, where things are expressed to be valid, but the wicked, they're not going to understand any of it. They're just going to want things to be their way. Okay? It says, but the wise shall understand. I want to be in the lane with the wise. Okay? All right, so, that being what I found for Operation Ajax, I'm going to open the floor, back up and, look to send some invites and things out and try to get this conversation back up and going. Because, right now, we should be almost out of the 10-minute mark. So let's see, prayer incorporated. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add?
Oh, yeah. I had written in what I wanted to ask, but didn't America set up the Shah of Iran in the late 70s and into the 80s?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. I guess you missed that part, but yeah, that was all a part of the operation.
Oh, Operation Ajax?
Yeah, that was all a part of them continuing to further, their hand in making certain that they could control the oil resource.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So, um, yeah,
And
those
you
are some of.
understand that this isn't political, that both parties in America are in on this.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not something that like I said, it's there are players involved that we don't even like really know about, and it's as if they're calling, the shots in order to protect their interest. I can't explain it, you all. Some of you are more proficient, at explaining those things, being able to identify, like why these hidden countries or these hidden families have the investments that they have, and why they do the things they do. So I'm not going to try to act like I'm the expert, right there. So you guys, you can come up, on the stage and share, your thoughts. Let's see, coming to, okay. I don't know, Ash. I don't know what Ash. Ash, like, you going through something, Ash? All right. You all can come up. You can come up on the stage. All right. Well, okay. Ash was responding to you, Prayer Incorporated.
So, what is Israel's role in this?
You know, uh,
Hi
my
everyone.
observation.
Hello.
Yeah, my observation. Hold on, we're gonna come to you, Ice. My observation is their role is they're still trying to grab more land. That's my observation. You know, they're still trying to grab more land. They're still trying to position themselves, as the as the chosen people. And yeah, I just come to realize there's a lot happening here that we just don't understand. Prophecy, and I was talking about that earlier today. Prophecy tells us, like in the book of Luke, Christ did say that the land would be filled with the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles were fulfilled. And then in Revelation, he talked about the place of Armageddon, and where he would bring the nations and he would deal with these nations, and then he would bring the people into the land and there would be peace. And I'm just saying, according to the prophecy, ain't none of that happened just yet. Right now, what we're witnessing is these folks are using the military might of other men in other countries to achieve their goal and or their agenda, which it doesn't have anything to do with prophecy if we're going to bring that into the discussion. And I think they did, because they called the Iranians Amalek. It's like everybody's Amalek. The Palestinians are Amalek, the Iranians are Amalek. It's like everybody is Amalek. Let me let Ice get on. Ice wanted to say something. Ice, what you want to say, Ice? Take yourself off mute.
How you doing, buddy? Are you alright?
Say it
Are you
again,
okay?
Ice.
Are you okay? Hello.
Yes, Ice.
Yeah, I'm just asking. Are you alright?
What's wrong with you, Ice?
I'm just asking. Are you alright?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you don't get the point. I don't think it's about religion. This war. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's nothing to do with religion. I think it's just about interest, and it's solely about interest, and obviously, and it's not something new. If you look back in the history, this conflicts and wars and whatever happening on the planet is the same like the past 10,000 years, and the interaction between human beings in general. It's just like it's a natural things, if you know what I mean. It doesn't surprise me. I think people are surprised, but I don't know why. You know, even if you go like to smaller things, and human being treats human beings treat each other very badly, you know. So I don't think it's about religion. It's all about interests, and obviously you got countries looking for their own benefits, individuals looking for their own benefits, and whatever it suit them. And probably people need just to get used to it. It's how it is. It's always been like this. If you go back and read about history, the Roman Empire, the Carthaginian Empire, classic era is exactly the same. War always been waged after a time of peace. So don't get surprised. Just go on with it, and everybody will be all right. That's it.
Okay.
Just,
Well,
I'm not wrong. I'm telling you, forget about religion. Most of people put a religion like a face. Religion is a tool, is another card on the table. There's so many cards on the table. Religion is one of them. But
okay.
what's worse is normal people they look into things, using sentimentals. No, religion is a card and can be used whenever it needs be. So yeah, I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, but I think it's wrong to just make everything seem sentimental when a religion, no matter if you believe in God, Jesus, or whatever, plays an instrumental part in every situation. To count that out is, nah, that's ridiculous.
Again, I don't think you get the point, Pray. I think you
Sure, I
just,
get the
I don't,
point.
I honestly don't get the point. I think you,
Yes, I do get the point. I understand what you're saying, but I just disagree with it.
Yeah, well, I think is that life is never been. It's all about to be honest. Life generally is driven by power. It's not driven by sentimentals and
What is the
poems,
point
and
of power?
it's how we are
It's
operate.
all
Like
religion.
this is how we are operated. Deny it as much as you can. You
The
can deny it
devil
as much as
has
you
a
can.
religion.
Sorry.
The devil has a religion.
Again, this is like is
God has a
sentimental. You are
religion.
talking about sentimental,
I
about a
understand what
physical.
sentimentalism is.
I think it just like you can't be sensitive. If you're sensitive, you should be
Don't,
going
don't,
and
don't
writing
use
poems.
those words.
Honestly, like I'm sorry, I'm saying it how it is. If you're sensitive, you should go and write poems. This is how it is. I think he's talking
I'm
too much.
sensitive, but I'm not naive.
Yeah, well, a lot of religious people are very naive.
I
Like
find it
very naive.
interesting that after the war in Iran, after the peace deal,
Yeah,
y'all were, or not y'all, but they were hot on us about Madonna through the 80s and how, like, reprobate America was. I find it
yeah,
interesting. Every
yeah.
gas station, every bodega in New York is headed by them. So say what you want, but I'm not naive. We can
It's-
use this modern phrase, agree to
yeah.
disagree, but please do
I think.
not insult my intelligence.
Well, I
Hey
don't
guys,
think you're being
everyone.
realistic because I don't. I strongly
Oh boy.
believe you don't.
Hold on.
Okay, dude.
Okay, hold on, guys. We got somebody new that just came up on the stage. I want to give them a chance to chime in. That would be Mahmoudi 1234. Mahmoudi 1234. Take yourself off of mute. Mahmoudi going once, going twice. Okay, he having some issues with his mic being able to come off the mic. So I did want to say this to Ice, where you were saying it's not about religion. You know, I can understand what you're saying, and I'm not certain if you heard us open up and talk about Operation Ajax as that being the catalyst behind what we're witnessing today. And I also understand and know what Prayer Incorporated is talking about with respect to the prophetic element that plays, into this. I wouldn't negate it, and I'm not going to argue, with you about it. What I like to do on this platform is give people an opportunity to share their thoughts and not worry about being attacked in the point of sharing their thoughts, but also being able to have a healthy debate. Okay? Because I don't know everything, might just learn something, in
Yes,
the
but this is about truth, right?
absolutely.
All right. Well, like I said, we can agree to disagree, but come on. I just say be respectful, man. Don't insult my intelligence like that. Not you, the host, but the other guy.
Yeah, well, okay. I didn't try to insult you, but I was just trying to put you in a real picture. Because obviously, if you look back in history, I mean, I'll give you one small example. For example, Rome and Carthage. If you go back like 200 BC, Rome and Carthage, they had so much resources, but they still at the end they had two Punic wars. They end up fighting. It's just in human DNA. It's just a natural thing. It's a biological thing, actually, for human to always end up in conflict, regardless how much resources they have. And it's nothing to do with the religions, and nothing to do with other things. It's just how we are as human being. We always end up, the end result is a conflict. And then we learn from a conflict, and then we readjust again, and then we enter a period of peace, and then we enter again a conflict where different generation comes in. We never learn. Human being never learn. We only learn from our own experiences. So how it is the same. Look at the First World War. Straight away, Second World War happened. And don't be surprised, there will be another third world war and a fourth world war until we all eliminate each other. And then we learn again, and then the clock resets. And this is how it is. You just have to accept it. If you read history, you will easily predict the future. And with accuracy, 100% accuracy. Yeah. So I think people just need to stop being sensitive. And you know what? I personally predict what's gonna happen. Like the next 70 to 100 years, there will be a reconsolidation of lands. Obviously the Soviet Union and the Russians, they will definitely take Eastern Europe, 100%. Be sure about that. And obviously the Middle East, there will be like new boss there, different boss. Work for the United States. And why Europe, France, and the United Kingdom, they will definitely go back to Africa, and it could happen in next 70 to 100 years, you know, and we are actually heading towards that direction, and what things get cooked in behind closed doors, you don't know what's the contract is signed between the Chinese, the Russians, and the Americans, even though they look like they hate each other. But the real target is the third world countries who have not catch up yet. They actually the prey, and we see them. Every third world country is actually a little prey waiting.
All right, so I had to cut you off right there. We got some new people on stage. Dead Prez, Benji, and then Chef, and then Sanid is going to speak. Dead Prez, Benji, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, brother. Appreciate you bringing me up.
What you want to add to the conversation?
I was just really listening real quick, and I was really looking up that Ajax, the Operation Ajax. So I'm trying to catch up with you a little bit on some information. So thanks for
Please
bringing that
do.
out.
Please do, because I'm just trying to add a little understanding behind why they say what they say to the DEATH to Americans.
Mm,
So we need to look at this trail within history and things that have inspired, have things that have transpired, within their country, all the way down to during the course of the Iran Iraq war. where I think it was like, I think they said between 200K to 1 million of their people, would have lost their lives. So they have a real gripe, against the U.S. Okay, let's go to Chef.
Hi, host. Hi, host. Good to talk to you again. Nice to be here.
All right, welcome.
Yes, yeah. I might lose some connection midway. If I do, just drop me, alright? Because I'm entering a basement car park.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So just want to address the gentleman Ice. I think when you talk about the rest of the world and how the world gone into major conflicts because of religion, and religion being a I would say a facade. I agree with you generally, but not in the context of what the host was talking about. We do understand that I think religion has always been used as a ideology or an explanation or reason for war, but that's roughly what, half the planet. So you cannot use religion as the only proxy for war, because I think in past history, Asian civilizations very far much less entered war using religion as an excuse. All right, so it obviously puts your argument in a much weaker position right now, right? So with with Iran and the U.S. right now, Iran, obviously to them, it's a war of martyrdom. All right. It's obviously a religious war right now. The moment the Ayatollah was assassinated, America on the funny hand is that right now they're trying to tell the soldiers that it is the holy war. All right. So obviously both sides actually recognize there's some power and there is some authority using religion as a reason for war. So I think I'll rest my case. We'll let the other guys talk about this. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We got Sunid. Did I say it right? I'm trying to make sure I get it right. Sunid.
It's
Sunid.
it it's Senate, but it's okay, bro. You can call me Sanid if you want.
Senate. Okay. I want to get it right. Senate. Okay.
Senate, yes. Thank you, thank you.
Okay.
Um,
Go ahead.
well, okay. I mean, I think the answer to this is very simple. The reason why Iran are, shouting, unaliving to America is really simple. It's because of the American intervention in their, let's say, sovereignty and their own politics. And this goes back to 1953, if I'm not mistaken. They had they actually elected, like, democratically elected some guy. I forgot his name. His name is Mohammed something. And then this guy, he basically wanted to keep the oil for Iran and nationalize it for Iran. So what happened is that the CIA, with the help of the MI6, they basically removed him from power and they put the Shah instead. The Shah, despite that and during his reign, actually Iran was secular, yes, and there was a lot of emphasis on education and Western values, which is true, but at the same time he was also like brutal and let's say he was a dictator, and he had like a secret police project or something like that, which by default this led to the Islamic Revolution and the presence of the Ayatollah Khomeini and his followers basically. And what we're seeing now is basically the Iranians' reaction to America's interference into this. Now, is this purely religious, the hate, I would say, towards America? I frankly don't see it that way. I honestly don't see it that way. But right now, when you unalive or execute the Ayatollah Khomeini, which is like a religious figure in Iran, and to the Shia people, yeah, I see that they would take it more seriously now. But the origin of this, I don't see it as, frankly, like religious, in my opinion.
So you just explained everything for the most part that I just read out of Operation Ajax. So as you were trying to identify, Muhammad, and as you were talking about the oil reserves. I mean, all of that
Mhm.
is explained if, as I'm telling folks, to go and research Operation Ajax, and I'm saying the events or the sequence of events that happened behind this um, covert operation, which led to the Iran-Iraq war. All of
Yeah,
this, was guided and or instructed covertly through American influence. And this is the reason why they don't like the American government. It's not that they just woke up one morning and said,
exactly.
I don't like them or I don't like you. It's
Yeah,
because I agree. Only because I just did my research myself trying to understand where does this hate come from. And Operation Ajax popped up, 1953 came into the line, looking at starting from 1951, and it pours all the way down into our timeline right now, you all. So
exactly.
if you want
And
to be
and if I
ignorant,
may, if,
I'm saying if people want to be ignorant and if people want to be credulous to what has happened historically, there's nothing I can say, or I can do about that. Let's see. We got one more person that just came on. Then I'll come back to you, Sunny. Billy.
okay,
Billy. Two first names.
Host, thanks for having me up. I appreciate it. Um, I just wanted to bring up because I think it's important to see it with nuance. And Sneed, I thought you did an excellent job explaining that. What I go back to is think about 9/11 for anyone on the panel that's old enough to remember. That's the one time really in our history that our country was attacked, and it was one day, and it was not by a nation, and we were in a nation that had all the ability in the world to strike back in any way we chose to. And we did with starting two wars that were, in hindsight, a little sus. Um, and when I think about Iranians now, not saying that it's right to be saying, death to America or anything, but again, if you put yourself in their position, their country is being bombarded. We have a long history of interfering in in their country's politics, all for our own benefit. Really, it all comes back to oil, and they are wholly incapable of doing anything about it. Imagine the rage you would feel. Imagine how angry you would be when it's something in your neighborhood gets blown to smithereens, and you're not really capable of striking back at a nation like the U.S. Again, not saying they're fully right, not saying I support all of it, but yeah, I think when you look at it from that perspective, it's understandable.
Okay. So we got two more guests on the stage. I'm gonna start at the bottom with Patrick, and then I'm gonna go to Riverboy. Patrick, you can come off your mic. All right, Patrick going once. Patrick going twice. Okay, Patrick having a issue. Riverboy.
Yes, sir. So,
All right.
my feeling is there's been a lot of references about 1953 and the revolution of 79 and the hate that's transpired for decades and decades. In comparison, why aren't Americans still hating Japan? Japan, the hate against Japan in terms of how they attacked Pearl Harbor and brought us into the war, World War II, was was major, and the hate against the Japanese occurred for decades after that. But it you don't have that today. You just do not. You do not have. Um, a sentiment against the Japanese. So, in contrast, why would the Iranians and the regime that has happened after the revolution and the Ayatollah, they control the media. It's just like the Smotsy regime in Germany, where Goebbels tried to control propaganda, and they do that to their own citizens. So, yeah, there's an argument about oil and control of oil, and that's justified because it's a resource that's needed around the world. But you know, you think about it. If the bigger reason that America and Israel went in is not because of oil, it's because of the threat again and the destabilization aspect in the Middle East. And if Iran had um, refined uranium and they were able to create a nuclear warhead, I mean, let's just say, yeah, how hot tempered that regime is, and maybe they would use it, and without even thinking about the retaliation and how it would wipe out their country if they did. I mean, the 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 warheads that would hit their country would just be astounding, and it would just eliminate their people. And so I go to this: why not have? Why can't the Iranian regime have a uh, a feeling of live and let live, and have peace, and use their oil, help their people grow, uh, get technology mainstream into their country, create more wealth, and have more peace? But they don't. They want to continue to hate. They drive that message, and they control all the media. They control free speech. They've executed tens of thousands of their own people for speaking out. Um, and so, yeah, the argument can go heavily. Oh, it was about oil. It was about oil, and that might be one of the factors. But the biggest factor is that you know uh, the world needed to respond to what was happening there to try to free that country uh, uh, and their people, and secondly, create more stability and peace without uh, the threat of retaliation. And look at what Iran did. You know that they got attacked, and how many countries did they attack after that? I mean, my God! I mean, how absolutely stupid. Uh, it, it, you know, I mean, my God.
Okay, all right, River Boy. Um, appreciate your thoughts there. I know there's some that want to rebuttal, what you said, but I want to say this. I just got finished reading some research that would kind of go against what you're saying. One, dealing with the fact that there is something called Operation Ajax, the fact that they do use propaganda. And I'm not I'm not attacking you, I'm not going against you, but in line with what I'm reading, a lot of what you're saying feeds into the narrative of propaganda that they would use to support their actions. Now, I know you would have a rebuttal to that, and I'll give you a chance to explain that rebuttal. But I just want to read one sentence or two sentences from some of the research that I pulled up based on this Operation Ajax, and then we'll go to Sunid. I know he wants to rebuttal what you said, but it says, because you said it's not about the oil. Okay. Operation Ajax 1953 was primarily used by the US and the UK, CIA and MI6 to regain control over Iran's oil industry. The coup overthrew Prime Minister Mohammed Mossadegh, who had nationalized the British controlled oil industry in 1951. The operation reinstated the Shah's, ensuring Western access to Iranian oil. So that's a point of origin. Sunny, you can go ahead and play. Oh, wait. I'm sorry, Sunny. We got Atum. Atum has been up and waiting. Let's let him speak, and then
It's
you can
okay.
rebuttal.
It's okay.
Yeah, good evening. Um, I was listening to the last guy, and you know, you can't have a moral argument unless your side has a moral footing. And so when you invade the Epstein situation, it uncovered a lot and has not been dealt with, which then gives the ruling class, elite class, politician, all that, such a bad rep that they don't have a moral footing to say anything about anybody. I mean, that's like um, someone smoking schmugs and telling you not to smoke cigarettes, or somebody who, um, is you see what I'm saying? You have to have to make any kind of moral argument. You have to have at least, nobody's perfect, but you got to have at least a moral footing. It's like a priest that's a pedo trying to tell someone about some kind of sexual morality, about not having an affair, not having any kind of contact with women until you get married. It's like, wait a minute, you're a pedo. You're telling me not to have a girlfriend? Um, that marriage is a holy institution, that I gotta wait till I get married. You got to have a moral footing. Um, and that's why it's so important. Leaders of the world, leaders of a family, leaders of a church, any kind of leader has to have a firm moral stance. Otherwise, you don't have a leg to stand on, and when you don't have that, um, you lose momentum and energy and a say so and credibility, and any kind of justification goes right out the window. So we really got to clean our house before we can dictate anything to anybody. Thank you.
Okay, let's say I know Sunny, you wanted to rebuttal.
Yeah. Well, look, I will try to address the gentleman's points regarding Japan, because he mentioned Japan and the bombing of Pearl Harbor. First of all, I think you can't equate exactly what America did to Iran to what the Japanese did to America. First of all, again, I'm not trying to justify what the Japanese did, obviously, but they basically like hit an American base, which is a military base. It's different than hitting, as you mentioned, than 9/11, for example. Like it's a different thing. It's like it's a terrorist attack. Also, you mentioned that why basically why the Iranian still are hating Americans, and why and you equated that, you said the Japanese hate basically stopped, which is not true, by the way. I mean, if you can check, for example, I think in 19 I'm not sure if it's 1988 or something, there was like over 120,000 Japanese person who were like they were put in internment camps. And also, you gotta understand also that the Japanese were basically hated for a long time, and the Asians in general, they were hated for a long time in the period during World War II and even in the Cold War era. So that is one. Also, for example, you said that basically Iran are a threat to the region, because if they do have nuclear weapons, it will be a problem. But how about Israel, for example? They do have nuclear weapons, okay? Have you searched the Samsung option? I don't know if how aware of you, how aware you are with the Samsung option. The Samsung option basically tells the Israelis that they can basically hit anyone and anywhere, and basically to sum it up, basically, if they are going down, we're gonna bring you down with us. So they are basically, they have the choice of hitting anyone and anywhere, and it doesn't matter. Maybe it can be in Europe, it can be in Africa, it can be anywhere, you know? And again, this all goes back to the same cycle here. I'm not saying, by the way, that the Khomeinis or the Ayatollah are great. I'm not saying so. Obviously, they're still ruthless to their people, but to have the moral ground of, you know what, we're going to liberate these people. I'm sorry, I don't buy into this idea, because there's plenty of injustices all over the world. And I think some guy mentioned North Korea, for example. If you really are about freedom, then how about you go and help the North Koreans, for example, or what's happening in Sudan, you know? So yeah, it's all about national interest, brother. Every country has the right to preserve their national interest, but not at the cost of lives and innocent lives. This is where I draw the line here.
So you're against the Ayatollah being.
Hold on, River Boy. We're gonna let Prayerful Incorporated speak, and then River Boy, we're gonna come to you.
Hi, I wanted to respond to the guy talking about making some religious stance. Well, that is true. However, a religious stance just means a religious profession and a reason to do what you think is right. I personally don't think America has anything or any right to be messing around with Iran or Israel in their own backyard.
Um, well, River Boy, I think you wanted to address something, brother?
Yeah. Um, yeah. So the point I was making about Japan, and I don't think you quite understand what I'm getting from,
Mm-hmm.
is I was living during that period of hate afterwards. Okay. And
Okay.
suspicion. Okay. I'm 65. And
Mhm.
so in the 60s, there was still a lot of mistrust and with Japan. But my point is this, okay, is America let that go. We didn't have people in concentration camps in the 80s. I think you mentioned that. I am not aware of that. During the war, we did, okay? And
1940s, by the way. Sorry. Yeah,
we,
keep going. Sorry, my bad.
America concluded that it was wrong, and they gave those people and a few of their descendants reparations, okay, and said, "Hey, look, we were wrong to do that, but you know, back then, as I mentioned, there was a lot of mistrust, but we let it go. Okay, get it? We let it go. All right. Now, think about it. If America controlled the media up till today, okay, and the government controlled the media and the mindset of the people, and they did not allow free speech, and let's say that the leaders in America chanted, okay, death to Japan or death to these other countries, that Germany and so forth, the North Koreans, other countries that have opposed us, you know, what would the mindset be? The Americans, largely, the citizens would be brainwashed into thinking that, right? Because of the government control. So you've really got to factor that in here, is that one of the reasons of dissension and the hate is because their government controls the thinking and what is circulated in terms of media representation of what they want the facts to look like to their people, and they're causing it. Okay, they're causing it. I'm thrilled that we eliminated that leader, because all we've heard for decades is death to America, death to Israel. I mean, they even chanted it
Sir, you
after
have to
Obama.
use TikTok language.
Okay, they even chanted that. Okay, unaliving Americans after Obama gave them what 1.7 billion dollars, which was very controversial at the time too. Um, the thing is here, okay, we can talk about oil being a factor, we can talk about extremism of the Muslim religion being a factor, which all these are factors. And host, you said that I said that oil wasn't a factor. I did not say that. I did comply that I think it is a factor, but I don't think it's the biggest factor. Okay, before these strikes, we had oil. America has geared up and oil production and so forth. We don't have a shortage of oil. Okay, what we do have is a threat against the Middle East, and the even what happens in the Middle East in terms of stability affects the U.S. economy. Think about it. I mean, look at Wall Street last week when this happened, and the oil reserves and shipments were impacted. The stock market took a dip, and the world markets you saw it too. So I think I'll land the plane here. I think that the strike was imminent. It's been coming, needed to occur for a long time, and they're scrambling now to uh, elect, not elect, but appoint, which is not even democratic at all, a new supreme leader, and that person will be a target, and will continue to be targets until that type of regime is eliminated, and they have some type of democracy there, and they have free speech, and um, they don't have government control over the media, and I think it's a fantastic thing to occur.
I wanted to say this, and then the panel, I mean, the floor will be open. Looking at how Iran, it's known that they hate America, and they say DEATH, to Americans, and we realize that's what they say. And because I don't want to put words in your mouth, and forgive me for doing that the first time, okay? Um, but if I heard you correctly this time, you're saying America doesn't say that, or they don't do that. But I would disagree. They just have a different way of claiming DEATH to someone, be it in or through their covert, operation, or the way they set up the propaganda. I mean, they have a different way of doing it, showing it, revealing it,
Well,
and
can I ask you a
appears to
question?
be Iran just appears to be more outspoken or forthright, with it.
Can I,
Hold
can
on
I
one
Can
ask you a
I
second.
question?
can I
Hold on
respond
one
to him?
second. We got one that just came to the stage. Mac 1 3. Welcome to the stage. You're on mute if you're trying to talk. Going once, Mac. Mac on. Mac on 3. Going once. Going twice. All right, he having some issues with his mic. Chef, you back on the stage. Did you want to add anything to
Yeah,
the conversation?
just want to take I think want to comment on what River Boy I think River Boy or Rivers yeah River was talking about, right? I think again kind of taking I think what you're trying to say is kind of like taking a moral high ground. It's unfortunate, right? It's very unfortunate. It's very difficult for somebody to forgive another when the abuse and all the actions of conflict is still constant, still currently happening. There's existing sanctions to the country, putting it down. There's constant conflicts and constant talk of war through the other proxy, which is Israel, right? And I think it's very hard for us to understand, right? I mean, look at the recent remarks of what Japanese Prime Minister was talking about with regards to taking actions against China, and China, the Chinese people brought up this whole argument about the World War II and everything else, and then the West was also conveniently saying, "Let it go already." It's like the last century, right? But if you look at all the basis of all these conflicts, right, where people cannot let go, is because I think the Americans were. I mean, you guys took on a very heroic role in World War II. You guys dropped the bomb. You guys kind of like, in some sense, ended the war and everything else. So it's very hard for you to understand the kind of trauma these countries have actually been through and is still going through, right? The healing process is going to it's going to take forever. And if you are so willing to tell Iran to let it go, why don't you tell Israel that? Like, let it go already. But you're still fighting for the land that's promised to them 3,000 years ago, right?
Mhm.
Over a holy book. It doesn't make sense, right? So it's always seems to be very easy for the West to ask the people who are being bullied and who are being beaten down into pulp to say, hey, let it go already. Come on, it's nothing. It's just a slap. So it's yeah. I don't think it makes sense at all. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Can I also?
to me it
I
does
would like to.
because
I,
let me just reboot to that is
Mhm.
okay. Okay, let me pose a question to you here. Okay, let's just get to the ultimate question. Let's say Iran had nuclear weapons. What do you feel the probability is that they would use them? Because Israel has, for the most part, let it go. They have nuclear weapons. They could eliminate. They could wipe Iran off the earth. They have the power. They have the technology. They're extremely uh, uh, developed in terms of defense, and so they could do it, but they don't. Okay, but they do hear constant chants, death to their country. Okay, it's completely different. It's completely different. If Iran had that power, what is the probability that they would use it? I'll pose that question. I think
I
it's
think
extremely
I think
yeah.
high. Would.
the
Oh,
answer to
sorry,
that.
bro. You answer. You go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I mean, look, I'm gonna go back to something that River said already, and then I'll try my best to answer this question. Um, First of all, when you um God, I forgot. When you say that, oh, we forgot about it. Why don't they forget about it? You have to also keep in mind, brother, that they have been on heavy sanctions from the United States as well. You have to also keep in mind that you made it miserable for them to make trades. You tried to cut them off entirely from the world. So you have to also keep that in mind. These people, it's not, forget about the revolution. There's generations that came after the revolution, and what they know of America is basically that this country is basically sanctioning us, making our life at home miserable, making our life to basically our economy like so bad that we can't even have a normal life at home. So you also have to understand that as well. So it's not just the
Do you know
um
why sanctions have occurred?
because you
Do
wanted
you even
them to
understand
be
that?
weakened,
No, no,
because
no,
you wanted
no,
them to be weakened.
no,
So they
no.
don't pose a threat to Israel. Again, brother, I'm sorry, but this is, look, I get it. If Israel, it should act as a proxy. It should act as a proxy, just like Iran are trying to use Hezbollah and Hamas and the rest of other groups as proxies. You know what? It's for their national interest.
But
But
Iran has funded terrorist organizations for decades, and that's one
so
of the
did the US.
big
So did the US. So
catalysts
did the
for
US, brother. The
sanctions.
Taliban. How about the Taliban? How about ISIS? Those T groups. They're also funded by United States of America. And by the way, saying that only Iran are saying, unalive to America, that's not true. In Iraq, they said it. In Afghanistan, they said it. In basically every country that the United States has set foot in and basically ruined. So this is basic history. This is a pattern here.
Okay. Hey guys, I want to remind you all not to come off your mic when somebody else is trying to get their point across. I mean, no one interrupt, you when you're talking. Let others, have the ability, to speak. I'll be the one, to interrupt and or mute a mic. But let's give each other the opportunity to get their point out uninterrupted, so you don't throw them off. They don't, forget something. Thus far, we've been doing very good, with our decorum and being able to have our rebuttals. So let's keep that going. I think we had somebody new to come on. Real, welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
Real, you ain't gonna get me in trouble tonight, are you?
No, I'm chilling tonight. I'm chilling.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's see. Okay, so everybody on the panel thus far, have spoken. So the floor is open if there's a thought that you wanted to get out or something you wanted to respond to. Who wants to go first?
I can go first because I was just kind of listening to what everyone was saying.
Okay, go ahead.
Um, when I think of terrorism or mass genocide, I think of an occupier. I think of apartheid state. I think of the unaliving of innocent civilians at a greater rate than maybe the person that's trying to defend themselves and their people. So when I forgot who was down there that said it, when they were talking about Hamas and it said, I'm not sure if I can say the name, but they were talking about them. When I think of terror, I think of Israel. When I think of terror and bullies, I think of the United States of America endorsing that behavior. That's what I have to add now. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All right, we got two that just came on the stage. Slug, did you want to say something? And then we have defensive round. Slug, go ahead. Slug, go ahead. Slug going once. Slug going twice. All right, Slug having issues with his mic. We're going to go to defense around.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. I just joined recently. I don't know how the conversation is going, but I know it's concerning the current happening within the Middle East. The little that I have to say is when Donald J. Trump said that he was going to help in the selection of the leader of Iran. That is where I don't understand, because I wonder even whether in US he have that power to select a mayor in that place. But if you say that you want to help select a leader for people, and then you are unaliving people in that country, then how do you expect to get the trust of that people? How do you expect to get the support of the people in there? Because you just unalive elementary school children when you started this campaign. So I'm a bit dousy about some of the things he's saying, and I feel that it's a war tactics that he's using, try to psychologically affect the Iranians, so that in the process of selecting their leader, they will have those kind of maybe one or two things that they will be in doubt. So that's the little I have to say. But if I'll be allowed to see the economic effects of or the long-term strategic plan of this whole issue, I think I'll be very grateful if the opportunity is given.
All right. Sunit, I
Yeah,
think you were trying to come in.
Yeah,
Okay.
actually, I wanted to actually, I'm kind of agreeing with this because the idea is kind of absurd. I mean, you're saying that you're going to free the people of Iran, but at the same time, you're not just, I mean, I would get it if you'd hit military bases, okay? But if you're hitting like
What they are
in
this one come up,
Go ahead.
oh
Go ahead, Zach.
um yeah, my bad. So I was saying that if you're trying to free these people, then why are you, sending bombs and blowing up the place, And I think what Trump's advisors, they basically gave him or sold him this idea that this is the right time to start bombing, so the people would revolt, and what will happen is that the people of Iran would overthrow the Ayatollah and the rest of the regime. But little did they know that that's not the case. That Iran is the people within Iran. I'm not saying that they are pro the Khomeinis, of course not, but it's mixed. Like there's mixed opinions about it, and there's also plenty of ethnicities there. So you can't just bomb your way out of it, and people should. And there's no regime change that comes through bombs. It should come from within. It should come from the people, and it should be as peaceful as possible. Uh, Other than that, I don't see any regime change happening. And yeah, that's all I wanted to say so far.
Okay. Maybe you can come on in if you got something you want to add. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah, hold on, Chef Slug. There's somebody named Slug on the stage that
yeah,
we want to give
yeah,
him a
man.
chance. Then we'll come to you, Chef.
Yes, good. Thanks. Good night. I just wanted to say, the people of Iran, they are celebrating. I just wanted to say that, and get the feedback of the other guests why they are celebrating.
Okay. All right, Chef, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I think that most of the time we can all agree, we look into history, that the Americans intelligence agency do not have a very good grasp on the very nuanced relationships between the Sunnis and the Shias, the difference between the different type of Islam sects that are around, the idea that you can kill the Ayatollah and thinking that that is the end of the regime. I think this kind of reflects on a lot, and very badly on the intelligence community, right? That they have no grasp of this, right? And well, every time they butt in, there is always a power vacuum. They put in a leader. The people are not happy about him. They kick him out, and then the killings continued. And a lot of what we call it, autonomous, so-called actions on the local militias, right, and creating even more problems. So it's kind of tested and proven that the track record is terrible, right? Even with the American intelligence agency, they're still struggling with trying to differentiate us South Asians between the Koreans and the Chinese and the Taiwanese and the Malaysians and the Singaporeans. They don't even know who we are, right? So again, the point is, if they want to sack somebody, what right do they have to appoint anybody to replace the person they sacked? Simply because they do not even have a firm grasp of anything on the ground, right? So yes, they are probably the most unqualified person to do that. Anyways, yeah.
Okay. All right. So who haven't we heard from in a minute that want to jump into the conversation?
Could I jump in, the host? I want to just say two
Sure,
things.
sure. Come on.
Because I'm hearing some, I just like to hear people, but my first thing I want to say is what Farrakhan said about the Muslims and the people of Iran a long time ago about how they was bombing their own people and how y'all don't like certain Muslims because one of them is a Sunni Muslim and one of them is a Sufi. And he told y'all a long time ago that this will happen if y'all don't get it together. Y'all all over the place. Y'all invading different lands, you know. So it's like, wow, the prophecies he told coming to life through the actions of the government. So I'm seeing it like two different ways. I'm like, okay, on my other way, it's like they at the door. Y'all, the Iranian people has to make a deal with Trump right now. This is what it's about. The war, all that, the oil. Yeah, you have to make a deal. If y'all don't make a deal, I don't know what to tell y'all. They at the front door, and you know what they do. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to add a point if that's okay.
Yep. Go ahead.
The gentleman, Slug, he said that the Iranian people are celebrating. First of all, we need to distinguish a lot of things. There's the Iranian diaspora, who are basically the people who are living abroad and not in Iran anymore. Also, there's the people within Iran as well. Now, the latest, I say, statistics or polls, they would say that the Iranian Islamic regime is not very popular, anyways. So it shows that the people are against this regime, which is correct. Okay. However, who is the next let's say president, or who's the person that America is thinking about right now? And here lays the problem. This is, I think, the most important issue that needs to be discussed. Who is going to lead Iran next? America, they have someone on the table, which is this guy Pahlavi. He's Pahlavi. He's the grandson, I think, or the son of the old Pahlavi who's in power, and he's been like living in America for a long time now. And this guy, the issue with this guy, some Iranians would say that he is a puppet for the Israeli regime because he already went to kiss the wall in Israel. He is also like, he's been far away from the country for a long time right now, so they don't really trust this person, and they have every right to do so. So this is what I'm saying. If I mean, eliminating people and regime change, fine, okay. If that needs to be happen, I'm okay with that. However, you need to be strategic and you need to be very careful with who to put next. So this is something that I think America hasn't learned from, sadly.
Okay.
No, no, no. I think America learned everything it needed to learn. Like I said, y'all stuck in a deal right now with Russia, and Russia can't back y'all up. So what you gonna do if Russia can't back you up in this war this time?
I would love to speak to what you were saying earlier. Maybe someone can correct me if I'm wrong on this, because I just want to be transparent. So when you talk about Iran having to, I guess, come up or make a deal with the United States, I'm just confused about that, because while there were negotiations going on, Trump decided to do this. So I'm just confused on why any Iranian would trust the United States or Israel in any kind of deal.
Because the Iranian people are giving oil to Russia, to people that don't like us. That's why
But
Russia
they,
intelligence system was telling the Iranian people where our fighter jets was. Cause
Exactly.
Yeah, friends. Remember, don't cut her off. Let her finish her thought, and then once she get finished, you'll have a chance to rebuttal. Go ahead, real. Finish your thought.
yeah, also you were talking about the attacks that the Iranian people have been doing and how it's all over the place. I would beg to differ with that. I feel like, one, they're paying less for their equipment, which is a great thing, and they're causing more damage. I feel like they're being way more tactical than what you're trying to lead on. So there are just a couple things that I just disagree with, but anyone can correct me on that.
Okay.
Well, my bad for cutting you off at the beginning. I thought you were done. But yeah, like I said, they were doing deals with Russia. So, when you in the war, you can't help the side that not helping the side that we're on. So it's not like the US is there just, you know, bombing things for any old reason. They're doing it because they're doing deals with Russia. So he has to cut off the oil supply, just like he did in Venezuela. They have no oil right now. So, he's taken Panama. He already took the Gulf and turned it to the Gulf of America. So this is a move for power and, oil reserves. So, I mean, we could just see the Iranian people are just in a lower state of the fight. They got the oil, but they don't got the power, So it looks like somebody's a bully or something. But if like brother was saying, Muddy River Boy, if they had the nuclear warheads, they might push the buttons without thinking. So gotta think about that too.
Chef been
I would
waiting
like
for a while. Go ahead, Chef.
Yes. Sorry, Sanet. Yeah. So what I was just saying is that I think we South Asians are very pragmatic people. So I've always gone about this not because I don't like America. In fact, it's actually on the contrary. Um, I am Christian, so I'm supposed to be like in support of Israel. But we're very pragmatic people, right? It's a benefit analysis of everything, right? So when we look inward into our own country, I think what Americans can really do right now is to look inward because you're given this opportunity, whether it's hard earned or is well deserved. Um, is that there is a reason why there are so many groups around the world that only chants the unalive chant to America. There is a very, very good reason why that is, right? We as countries to countries politically we do things to each other. Even in South Asia, we do things to each other, retaliatory, defensive, but they're always open on the to diplomacy on the table, right? Going to war, firing the first bullet, firing the first missile is always the last resort. And for the last 80 years, 120 years, we have not come to that as yet. So there's a lot of things that I think that the West can learn from the ASEAN countries, is that always talk, regardless of how nonsensical those talks can turn out. We always talk first before we do anything because people are going to get hurt, right? And I think America really needs to sit down and self-reflect what they have been doing to the people around them, or rather to the neighboring, or rather to the people in the Middle East, right? And really reconsider what exactly is an enemy. Just because somebody is taking the lollipop that you like doesn't mean that he is your enemy. He can be your competitor. He's not your enemy. You know what I mean? So America has this tendency to jump to very quick conclusions. Oh, this guy is going to be hostile to us. They're going to do this to us. It's a lot of this as projection. It's complete projection of your own violence. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if
Just
you,
came up.
my brother
Somebody
was.
new, and then we'll come back to you, Defense. We got somebody new on the panel. Let's give them a chance to speak. Blue Magic, you are on mute if you're talking. Blue Magic going once. Blue Magic going
I'm
twice.
sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just put it back on. You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
How's everybody doing?
Fine, thank you.
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed. First and foremost, I've been watching this go down, and it's not good at all. This one here is the big one. Whether people believe it or not, I mean, I've been on this earth for 67 years, and this war right here should have not happened. What I mean by that is simple as this: they should have sit down at the table and talk things over besides starting shooting and going on, because Innocent people are dying because of the fact that somebody does not agree with what somebody has in their country. Meanwhile, here in the United States, it's chaos. We need to fix our own backyard like we should have been doing years and years and years ago. We study going into other countries, trying to take, because that's all it's about. Taking something that don't belong to nobody but God. And guess what? This one here is the big one. Now, people need to realize that as a lot of those people live here in the United States and they're not afraid to die. That's my concern because you're doing all that over here, but you better worry about what's going to happen here in the United States. And I don't fear nothing but God. But innocent people are going to end up checking out of here as well because you can't go to different countries and just taking people's lives and think it's, well, this is this, they have this, that's not the way it's going to be this time around. Please believe this. So I advise everybody to stock your water up, do what you got to do because it's going to hit home. I have to say it. It's going to hit home. This one here is going to hit home. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I think defense, you were trying to say something, and then Sunny.
Yes. My brother was trying to say if there could have been any sort of deal between America and then Iran, that would have been best. But if you look at history tells us that there can never be a deal between Iran and US, in the sense that you could see for the past the 12 days war, they were in the middle of negotiation when Israel and US strike Iran, and this current ongoing war, they were in the middle of, even they came to a conclusion that they are now on a way to a deal, and then it happened. US and Israel is not interested in a deal. That was why Donald J. Trump pulled out from the former deal. The issue is that though they have sanctioned the Iranian regime, but still the Iranian regime is able to survive upon all the sanctions, and they are able to still develop their own weapons. So imagine if Iran was living without sanction, where they would have been and what they would have been able to develop. So they are realizing that Iran is now becoming more powerful. And then which is the fear of the Gulf states? So the Gulf states are now looking up to Israel and US to protect them from Iran, with the fear that Iran, because they said they are practicing Islamic Republic, their fear is that Iran might one day stood up, if it's so strong, to tell them that they are establishing an Islamic caliphate. And if there's an Islamic caliphate, meaning the monarchies within the Gulf states would have to cease. And that is their fear. And that's why they employ a lot of US bases within the Middle East to protect them from Iran. So they are not interested in a deal with Iran because Iran is becoming so much powerful. They've been saying every day, it's about nuclear, it's about nuclear. No, it's not about nuclear. They know that Iran is not building a nuclear weapon, but Iran is putting itself in a stage of the nuclear cycle that if it feels that there's essential threat to it, it can easily develop a nuclear weapon. And that is what they don't want to happen. So they are trying in whatever way that they can do. People saying that in Iran, the people themselves doesn't want the regime, they are revolting. No, all those things are the work of the Mossad to topple the regime. But they realize that it's not happening. That is why they try to take the leader out by force. And that has always been one of the strategies of US and Israel, taking out leaders. from history, we've seen that Nasrallah was taking out the Hamas leader, was a whole lot. They have been taking out leaders, and when they take out leaders, it's always a limited strikes, and it ends there. But they were the fear that Iran is becoming powerful. If we do that, and then the Strait of Hormuz is blocked, then our economy is going to be in trouble. So that was why they went to Venezuela first, to make sure that they secure Venezuela before they come to Iran. And after securing there, they miscalculated. And when they came, they realized that
I
they
believe
have
that.
bitten more than they can chew. And that is what brought about all this. And now they want a way to stop it, but they can't stop it. And if they also try to come out to say, oh, let's stop all these things, they are superpower, this thing, people will now look at them, oh, you are the superpower, we think you can do this. So why now backing up? But behind the scenes, they are trying as much as they can to cease fire. Because if you
Okay.
look at Iran's military doctrine, they are more or less like the asymmetric warfare. That's where they do. It's not about the sophisticated weapons that they have, but
Okay. All right. So defense. I mean, you had some time getting your thoughts out. I'm sure some people want to respond. To some of the things that you're saying. I'm not sure if that was Slug that was trying to come in or who
Uh,
was trying to come
I would
in.
like to I would like to
Go
say
ahead.
something before I leave because it's getting
Yeah.
too late.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Well, I actually agree with the gentleman, Blue Magic, on what he said regarding, taking care of your own backyard first before, going around and messing with other countries. Look, to summarize this entire situation, I don't think it's about. This has nothing to do with religion for the moment. This is about an ally, quote unquote ally, that wants to aggressively expand in the region in the Middle East, and they want to have their own influence. And this ally, they need to see the downfall of Iran. That would be helpful to them because based on the Israeli doctrine, actually, you guys need to check this out. They do believe in the Greater Israel Project, which
Yeah.
involves taking parts of Syria, parts of
Yeah.
Lebanon, parts of Iran, and Saudi. So we're talking about a G side of 4 to 5 other countries. And if you look at the real ground action, that what's happening right now, it's actually ongoing. It's actually happening. They have the south of Lebanon, they have some parts of Syria, and they will soon start to, go to Iraq and other parts as well. So again, this is about a regime that wants to influence and have their own dominance there, and America is basically facilitating that process. And at the same time, America would love to see Iran under control. And what's happening is that Iran are refusing that, And there's something else that's concerned with the money reserve of Iran. I think this you can check this out with Tucker Carlson. He had this interview with a woman. I really forgot, but she basically explains why that this part of the reason why is that America, they don't have access to the money of Iran. So again, this is multi-layered. This is not just one aspect to it. Again, and yeah, sadly, if Trump is looking for a regime change, that will definitely have to. They have to put actual soldiers on the ground, and this is something that the American public is against. So what Iran is trying to push for the moment is to delay this war as maximum as possible until the midterms, so that the American people would pressure Donald Trump or try to impeach him or do anything for him so he stops the war. And this is my analysis for the moment, I would say.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of funny because we ain't gonna impeach him anyways. And it would be easier just to make a deal with America than try to fight because you want to be a Muslim. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's when we get to the propaganda, I would call it, about religion. Y'all wouldn't change y'all ways to be like Israel, like the Jays, because y'all want to be Muslims. And then, like I'm saying, you saying it's about the money. America got money. We owe money. We don't need the money from nobody. That's what I'm saying. You wanted the troops. Listen to him, Tate. Because you saying putting the troops on the ground. We don't want to come on the ground. But if we have to come on that ground, this is what I'm telling you. If them boys hit that ground, it's over. Ain't no coming back for y'all. Y'all, it's through. You might as well just throw the white flag in. Cause they gonna be mad they there, and y'all gonna be mad they there. So I'm trying to tell you, don't they into a dilemma with Russia and America and Israel. They right in the middle because they got the oil. So
I'm really trying to understand your point, but look, I'm not in favor of this war from to either sides, to be honest. Neither to the Iranian people, neither to the Americans, because I know that America. I think the last thing that Americans need right now is more debt or more money going to a foreign nation and not fixing the striking issues that are at home. We're talking about homelessness. We're talking about people without jobs. We like the groceries going high up, the gas prices, school shootings. You know, all of that stuff. You know,
that's
I don't see
propaganda.
this. What I don't think that's propaganda for the American people, frankly. But again, this is not going to end well for American soldiers. Like you should go and watch Dr. Messerheimer. He's like a political analyst, and basically everyone agrees that the geography of Iran makes it hard for the American soldiers to be there because again, if America, they do have the air superiority, they have the naval superiority, that's for sure. They will obliterate the Iranian army or the navy, for example. But again, in order
Exactly.
for you to have actual control on the ground, it has to be on the soils of Iran. So that will require actual soldiers there. Again, this is and Trump is trying to talk to the Kurds. He's trying to talk to the Azerbaijanis because there are, as I mentioned before, there are minorities in Iran, and he's trying to basically take advantage of that. So maybe they fight the Iranians themselves without having to sacrifice American lives. So again, this is not helpful for anybody. This is not helpful for anybody. And the problem is that the Iranians right now, they are refusing any sort of peace because when they were trying to negotiate a peace deal, they were bombed not once but twice. Once in Qatar, and that was last summer, I think. And this time it was very recent. So why would they trust the Americans? That's what I'm trying to say.
Slug, were you trying to get in on the conversation?
Oh,
And anybody else that had not spoken in a while, you can have an opportunity to come in, as
I,
well.
I want to say to the person that just was talking there, Sharid or whatever. I believe all of that what he said there is just like is propaganda. And if they put troops on the ground, I believe it's all over. I just wanted to say that.
I mean, I think them troops on the ground would be very much similar to when they went to Vietnam and how they weren't prepared, for that on the ground type thing. They were in for a big surprise, and I personally think, in Iran it's going to be the same thing, dealing
But
with the
but
familiarity and the terrain and everything. Go ahead.
I understand what you're saying, but Vietnam was a lot of jungle. So that is what make it hard in Vietnam. It was a lot of jungle.
Yeah,
Iran doesn't
but
have that amount of jungle.
in Iran, there's plenty of mountains, dude, which is not like a conventional battleground area, I would say. You know, they. By the way, the Iranians have been waiting for this, brother. They were preparing for this for over decades now. So this is gonna be rough for everyone. For everyone.
You know,
All
my
right.
problem is with them people is that they in a place, in different places of the world, nobody's saying nothing. We talk about, oh, we going over there bombing them, but how many places has they invaded? How many places has these Arab Muslims invaded, like Timbuktu and different places, then destroyed them? So, so when the finger get pointed back at you, and you telling us we need to listen, maybe you need to listen and do the deal with Trump.
You got to remember, these are Persians that you're talking about. These aren't Arabs. These are the
Yeah.
Persians. These totally different,
hmm
totally different.
hmm They both the same. One and the same. They both
They're
was
not.
there.
They're not. They're
Brother, they're not
different,
the
bro.
same. If you say that to a Persian person, they would feel so offended
What
to
that? Yeah,
basically compare them
Arab.
to Arabic.
They're Persian. They're Persian. They're a totally different group
So
of
you telling
people.
me you don't
Ethnicities.
think Arabs was there at certain times?
I don't know what you
No,
mean by
sir.
that.
Okay,
What do you mean?
that's what I
Yeah,
mean. They was they was
it's
there.
exactly this point, right? It's exactly this point that
This
I'm
is why
talking about,
Darius and
right?
Sickles had to fight him, and
Sorry, it's exactly this point that
Hannibal
what I pointed out
had
to
to
you.
fight him.
No, it's exactly this point that I'm telling you, right? So the Americans have no idea the differences between the people there just because they look the same or they look
Hmm.
similar and they go to war unnecessarily. You're picking the wrong fight with the wrong kind of people. And again, it's a typical American hubris, right? And the idea of the American exceptionalism. So it's you're picking the fight with the wrong people. And again, if you if you look at it from a cost benefit analysis point of view, right? I think it would have made much easier sense if you were to take the money that you're going to spend on this war, you drop bags of money in Iran or in any of those countries that you have problems with in the Gulf states, right? And give them free subscription or whatever. You know, I mean, it's a joke, but I think you probably you probably arrive at a better deal than what you're getting now. And
Yeah.
the problem is right now you're talking in a very short term view. It's very electoral term based, right? It's but what happens after Trump? The point is what happens after Trump? What happens to
That's
America after Trump's? Right? So you guys are taking an overdraft of the trust, not only between yourselves of your own internal systems, you're taking now an overdraft on the trust, or you costed the entire trust system of the NATO allies, your G7 states, everybody, you just made the entire world go against you. So what happens after that? You know, in Southeast Asia, right, we actually have a couple of military intelligence agencies that we have a discussion where we talk about possibilities, right? It's just random throwing out possibilities. One of the possibilities that we actually threw out that is getting more and more possible right now is that Israel is using America as a convenient tool to do whatever it needs to. All right. And when the time it comes where everything is done, America is out of the picture, NATO is destroyed, there is nobody going to be the check and balances against Israel, and they can do whatever they want. And that is the scariest possibility that can happen right now. Because as of now, you are talking about the T states. They have no ability to strike the mainland of America, despite all the unaliving chants and everything else. That's basically what they can all do, pretty much. Okay, and going along with your argument, okay, you guys have already destroyed the possibility of a nuclear armament. What else can they do to you other than sleeper cells? But all the other possibilities of them striking the mainland, which was previously just a possibility, with your current actions now, you have pushed it to inevitability, right? It is now a confirmed thing. It's just a matter of when, right? Because people are pissed. You drop bombs on their daughters and their wives. You guys killed their fathers and their brothers and sons. What are they going to do? What would happen if somebody did this to America? If somebody could, you guys won't react very well either, right? I mean, and we are just talking right now in this panel where we are exploring this possibility. People are already going crazy in the panel, in the comments, right? So that is something that you have to understand, right? Geopolitically, yes, you guys are used to playing the big brother and everything else, and we appreciate America for that. Right now, what we don't appreciate is that this big brother has gone crazy. In the past, at least the big brother plays at least to the laws and the rules that have been set down by men. But right now, there is none. You can make up laws along the way. You do a preemptive strike while amidst of negotiations. With every law that's in the book, you've broken every single thing, and then you want to come up as the authority of or agency of humanity and justice. How does it make sense? What does he even do to the people like who are the countries like Singapore who actually respects America for what they've been doing for the longest while? Have you not thought about that? And your sons and your own children that when they grow up they read the history books. What would you think? My country is doing this? Wow. I mean, it's already shocking for the people right now. So it goes beyond that. The actions have gone beyond that, and this war is exactly proof of what you guys have done in history, and now you're reaping the rewards for it, right? So this war has been unnecessary all along, entirely unnecessary.
Okay, I'll tell you, we got two people that just came up on the stage. Jarrell is back, and then we have Goosey. So, Jarrell, you can
Yes,
jump in if you want to, and then we're gonna go to Goosey.
oh yes, sir. I'll be real quick. Yeah, the young man, he was speaking the truth. We have no business over there. I mean, uh, I don't know if Israel is controlling everything, but something is not right. I mean, all the American people should look at this. We in a serious trouble, and we paying for this. Just think, we're the taxpayer. We are paying for all of this mess. And I served in the military. I was over there in '91, and it's still the same thing. It's actually worse now because they got more firepower now than they had back then. I don't know, man. I don't know how we can get out of this. What's the end game, but what are we supposed to win? I mean, winning so much. What are we gaining? And I'll go ahead and land right there. If somebody can give me that answer and let me know what we winning or what we gaining from this mess. All right,
Okay.
land right there.
All right. Goosey, going once. Goosey going once.
How you doing, man? Thanks. I'm not an American. I'm from the UK, so I don't
All right.
know. I didn't want to. I didn't want to say too much, but I just want to sort of reiterate what some of you guys are saying about this war. I just want to point out that how it's been said multiple times. This president ran on no wars, no new wars. That's all. And it's for me. It's funny how Trump supporters, in particular, are overlooking this point. It's such a massive platform that he ran on, and how many people voted for him for that very fact that he wasn't going to go to war, and now look, repeating the same cycle over and over again. And really, the only people that are going to really lose are the Iranian people and the American people. All right, that's all I wanted to say. Sorry, thank you. Thanks for having me up.
Yeah, they do lie. They do lie. They have always lied, and campaign promises, are not always actual in real time when they get into office. All right, so the floor is open once again to the panel that would like to rebuttal or bring forward a new point. I would like to tell everybody to tap the screen. It don't cost anything. There's the heart me, up at the top. And more importantly, you all share, the live. This is a conversation that should be had, more often and throughout our social media platforms, right now, because it's affecting all of us, whether you recognize it or not. And healthy conversation is always good. Okay. Share the live, tap the screen. Good for the comments. So, anybody wanted to add anything at this point. Teody is in the house. Teody, what's happening, brother?
Yeah. The
Well, I
only
go. Oh,
beneficiary
go ahead. Go ahead.
to
Oh, go ahead.
okay, the only beneficiary to this war is Israel, because they are going to benefit from now and they are going to benefit from the long term. What my brother Sanet said is actually true. I agree with him in the sense that uh, Israel is more concerned about the Greater Israel Project, and they can only achieve the Greater Israel Project when all the Gulf states or the Middle Eastern countries are weak. Then they can expand to get their Greater Israel Project from the River Nile to the Euphrates. Now, what happened is that Iran is the only country that is now blocking their way. They want Iran weakened. So they have, with the support of US, they are now weakening Iran. And Tucker Carlson came out with an interview saying that some Mossad agents were arrested trying to cause some damages within the Gulf states. Their aim is to make sure that everybody within the region goes down, because they know that they can rebuild themselves so fast to achieve their Greater Israel Project. So if this war, they are targeting all, not only Iran, but any other person that can be a problem to them when they want to do their Greater Israel Project. They want to make sure that they bring them down so that they can achieve that. I think that they are the only people this war benefits.
And I'll add to that. Have anybody seen the gas prices? I know here in Tennessee, gas has went up $1. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy. Diesel, I think diesels went up more than that. So I mean, it's crazy, man. It's affecting everybody. Wasn't MAGA or anybody don't want to say it, but it's affecting everybody here in America. Everybody.
Yeah. So I want to also let you guys know to look into Operation Ajax, and that will give some insight into why Iran is anti-U.S. and why they say DEATH, to America. It's not, because they just woke up and decided they wanted to hate somebody. This is historical with respect to the interference, and it does have a lot to do, with their oil. So let's see. We got Han just came on. Han, what you want to add to the conversation?
Um, to answer your prompt, why is Iran anti-US and why did they say unalive to America? Well, just as you mentioned, just briefly, Operation Ajax, when they, overthrew the democratically elected Prime Minister Mossadegh because he wanted to nationalize Iranian oil. The British and America overthrew him and installed the Shah, who was, deposed, and he led a brutal during his tenure in power, he was really brutal to his people. He ran this secret police called the Savak, which was kidnapping people, torturing them, and all these other things. And it was America again back in 1979 who led the revolution, helped it, and then a year later they funded Saddam Hussein into attacking Iran. You know, so America has done quite a few terrible things to Iran. I can say back when Obama did the JCPOA, which was actually a good step and was helping Iran, because they were getting inspected for their uranium enrichment for sanctions relief. It was Donald Trump who came in because he's a bitter man and just hates Obama for some reason. Uh, tore it up and applied the maximum pressure on them for no reason. And as you see now, back in July, when they were negotiating with Iran for a new nuclear deal, he found out that he couldn't get a better agreement than what the JCPOA had. So what did he do? He betrayed them
and let Israel attack them. And he launched Midnight Hammer. And then after that, fast forward back in February when they tried to negotiate again, Donald Trump backstabbed them again and basically allowed Israel to get them into a war right now. America is controlled. Donald Trump is controlled opposition by Tel Aviv, Netanyahu. We're just, that's about it, honestly.
Okay. Very good points, and a lot of what you brought out is what I opened up with, giving a little history into the Operation Ajax and some of the propaganda and how it has affected the geopolitical scene, as well. So, anybody else wanted to respond to that or add something else to the discussion?
Yes, please.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I just add something about Netanyahu? Um, uh, does anyone think it's strange that he bypassed Donald Trump to go and address Congress directly himself? I was just wondering if anybody knew, has that ever happened in American history before, where the leader of another country is able to fly to America and without the president go directly and address Congress? That was the first thing where I believe he got 26 standing ovations. That's the
That
first
was
point.
that was under
The
Obama.
second, no, no. When he recently came, just now, recently, and he went to Congress, Netanyahu, and he stood in front of Congress. How many times has Netanyahu visited America? I have a theory about this. I have a theory about this. This is like the sixth visit this year he's had to America since to visit the White House. Now, my theory on that is why did Netanyahu personally visit Washington that many times? My personal theory is because he was personally bringing the blackmail to show Donald Trump. He's not going to trust what they have with anybody else to go and try and influence Donald Trump. So every time he was coming, he was bringing the material that he had to show Donald Trump that, look, if you don't take the steps that I want you to take, I'm going to be releasing all of this stuff. It's unprecedented how many times a leader, especially from Israel, has come in the most recent times over the last year, and then going to Congress by himself without the president to address them, and then them all standing up, giving him standing ovations about his desires for war or whatever. I just think it's very convenient that he comes so many times, and then President Trump is going back on all of his promises. Thanks. That's it.
They've spent billions upon billions of dollars, lobbying and or buying different politicians. So, it's a weird dynamic from that standpoint. I can't say too much other than a lot of people are paid off. Congress may be bought and sold, and your politicians are not politicians for the actual American right, but for right of the Israelis.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. Like,
Chef.
over the past four
Oh, I'm
years,
sorry.
we witnessed Israel commit a genocide on the people of Palestine using our tax dollars. They unalived women, children, elderly people, devastated Gaza, flattened it. And the first day of the war with Iran, what does the United States and Israel do? They unalived a school filled with 160 girls. So this just shows you, you know, what they're willing to do because, like, they're just controlled. Like, our Congress is occupied. Like, it's funny how, what's it called? The FBI released a document saying that, Donald Trump, R-worded a 13-year-old, and then the next day he says that I want unconditional surrender from them. So he's going full throttle.
Yeah,
But
can I say something real quick? Everybody need to really, I have myself, have to really look at this whole situation here. Now, they're not saying anything, but they got to be real careful of Russia. They got to be real careful of Russia. Because just like Burkina Faso, you see what's going on there, right? Okay? And Burkina Faso is backed up by Russia. And I'm almost 99% sure that Iran is too. So that's going to be the big deal. And they're already stepping in quietly, giving them a little bit of ammunition. And I think that's what's going to take place. Russia is going to join Iran. And then United States, and I'm going to be honest with you, they say they can put boots on the ground. No, you're not going over there with boots on the ground. That's why you're firing from the air. You're not going over there in that sand and fight. You're going to lose. And I'm 99% sure. That's all I have to say.
Blue Magic, I wanted to tell you, Russia, they made it known that they don't have a military agreement with Iran. So, they said it's no reason for them to get involved. But China, on the other hand, China does have an interest because Iran is the main supplier for, their oil. I'm not certain, Chef, were you trying to get in on the conversation?
Yeah, just earlier with regards to what Lucy said about Bibi Netanyahu actually addressing Congress, I think it's possible. I don't think we need to speculate on that because the Congress is a separate branch of the government, so they can actually receive invitations from, I think, speakers or people from the Senate to come up and address them without the president. So it has happened before. So I think it cannot be a part of a speculative point. China again, it's also speculative, but with regards to their restraint that they're having right now, I don't even think it's restraint. I think it's just being pragmatic again. Strategically, it is actually smarter to go to war once the war of attrition kind of like balances itself out. So it's better to counterattack a weaker enemy if they do have that on their books, but I don't think so. As of now, mostly it's trying to level the playing ground. Providing them some radars here and there, and not even the full package of their entire weapon system. So a lot of people are dissing China for the technology and everything, but you must always understand that there is no point. When China actually gives them, they gives them only like radars and satellite access to pinpoint targets and whatnot. So the targeting package is actually also not part of China. So obviously it's not going to work. The full, what do you call it? The full way that China has actually designed the system, right? And of course a humanitarian aid. So I think that part again, it's also very speculative. Yeah, that's all.
Okay.
I like to make a comment on what the brother said earlier. When I mean by what Russia helping them, all gloves are off. Ain't nobody playing by the books. There's nobody playing by the books right now. Okay, this when he went over there and invaded them people, this is all done by a individual. Okay, so with that being said, if Russia does come and help them, ain't nobody gonna know it.
Well, Russia
Okay.
already did help them. Russia told them about the planes over there.
That's my point.
So
And
I'd like to speculate. The speculative is right because I already said, like if we wasn't even with Trump, we would be paying Ukraine. Excuse.
to be basically honest with you, and I'm gonna say this again, and I'm gonna say it more loudly and proudly than anything. We need to take care of our own backyard. All of this here is unnecessary because all of this you're taking or going to take something that don't belong to nobody. Actually, really. So United States and these wars and everything, Carolyn, God gave this land to everybody, but certain people came in and say, this is mine. It don't belong to nobody because at the end of the day, when he does what he has to do, ain't you came here with nothing, guess what? We all gonna leave here with nothing. Okay, and that's real talk. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, China and Russia are already providing support
Thank
to
you.
Iran via logistics and stuff, letting them know which targets they should strike. The United States today, with Israel, attacked Tehran, Iran's oil refinement facility in Tehran, and their desalination plant. That is very dangerous because if we look at the Gulf and those nations, they are water consumers, but they don't produce any water. So if Iran was to devastate and attack any Gulf nation's desalination plant, that will completely devastate them. And as you see right now, these Gulf nations have told the U.S. that the trillions of dollars they committed to investing in the U.S. They're considering to rescind it because of the effects of this war. So we're being affected by this. I just hope we realize, I mean, as Americans, that we're a population of 350 million people, and Congress is only less than 1,000. We shouldn't tolerate these people jeopardizing our safety for things that don't benefit us.
Um,
Can I add one more thing, host?
And
Yeah,
not to
thanks, host. Can I add something,
Yeah, yeah,
host?
you can add. Hold on one second. You can add.
Okay.
I was gonna say with that whole help thing, I do understand or administratively, they are providing that assistance. I was speaking from the standpoint of like that physical, getting into it. Just being clear that they just made the statement like they don't have any military obligation to, Iran, but as far as that other obligation, they were cool with it. But you guys are right, with respect to what you're saying, that they have been involved and so have China. Iran is not in this on their own. Chef, you can speak, and then we have somebody new to come on. Adrian, we're gonna let Adrian go after you, Chef. Go ahead.
So the other thing is that for the people in the panel as well in the comments who are actually concerned that because Iran is actually one of the major suppliers of oil to China, you must not forget that China has always been very resilient, right? Throughout the I think near history where we have seen like sanctions or embargo against their technology, from the chips to the 5G to everything else, always China has always come out tops in terms of either escalating their progress or research in that field that they are denied of, and they have come up with solutions of their own. And already for energy, renewable energy, to be totally off the or rather coal free, right, or fossil fuel free, right. Their plan was originally, if I'm not wrong, 2060, and they actually have escalated and sped up their research into renewable energy, changing their infrastructure, changing their grids, updating their nuclear plants to take on whatever energy needs that is required, that will be cut off because of Iran, right? So that is something that you must also consider as well when you're looking into the dynamic. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the guests they dropped off, so we can continue to go through those of you that are on the panel. I'll say this: we got so far 230 some odd people in the room. You all, that's good. You guys can tap the screen. The Daily Heart Me is up there. Repost the live, share the live. I'm sure you know quite a few people within your network that should be a part of this conversation. And with this many people, in the room, I would appreciate, that interaction with you guys. I know some of you may be at work, or doing other things, and you really can't get involved like that. And all you can do is listen. I get it. Okay. But if you can, you know, help out, tap screen, share the live, repost the live, and let's get some more of our opinions and thoughts about this global event that's impacting all of us. Okay. And we need to have this discussion more often because we're not really getting all honesty from the media outlets, and we have to be mindful of the propaganda and a whole lot of other things. We have to use our sense to think about this, hear one another, and come to understand really what's going on. So who was that was saying they wanted to come in? Was that Chef?
Oh, I've said my piece already. So yeah, somebody else can continue.
I just wanted to say regarding the media, like our media and entertainment is currently about to be controlled by one family, the Ellistons. If we look at the Ellisons, Larry Ellison, he is a massive supporter of Israel, Zionist supporter. His company Oracle is basically subsidized by the taxpayers, and they're currently buying, they bought Paramount, CNN right now. They're about to buy, I think, Netflix, and they're leveraging Oracle, even though Oracle is mainly subsidized by the taxpayers via the federal government. So we're not going to get anything accurate from the media. The media is already controlled by, Zionist. So just wanted to say that.
Isn't Oracle also the company that is part of the conglomerate or the buying of this app or this platform right here as well? Are you talking about that Oracle?
Yeah, yeah, they control TikTok as well.
Okay. All right. Okay. You also any other insights? Any other rebuttals?
Yeah, I'd like to say
Anything?
something real quick.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'd like to say something real quick. I was just today, because I was looking at a couple of videos, what's going on over there, and then I did some research back when Gaddafi was alive and how his country was ran. And when he uh, said he was going to make his own currency, he got unalived. But if you do the history of Gaddafi and see that that country was doing so well, I mean, healthcare was free, college was free, uh, nobody was homeless. Uh, if you wanted to get education out of the country, the country paid for it. Healthcare, if you got sick and they couldn't do it there, the country paid. This man was really, he took care of his people. He did everything until he said he wanted to change the currency. Something similar to what's happening in Burkina Faso. So I pray for that brother and the whole 9 yards. But Gaddafi, if you do the history on him, you'll see. And when he wanted to change that currency, he got checked out of here. That's all I have to
Yeah,
say.
with Gaddafi, right? Libya was the richest nation in all of Africa. They had no debt whatsoever. They curated their own um, aquifers using the sea waters, and they were growing plants and stuff in the desert. The United States came in and destroyed all of that. And what is Libya known for right now? Is literally an open market, slave market. They Gaddafi wanted to create a central bank
Yes,
in Africa
yes.
using their resources,
Hmm.
and the African leaders betrayed him.
Yes.
They let the U.S. with NATO overthrow his country under the guise of democracy, and yeah, his people fell for it. And now look at Libya now.
Not
It's a
only
third
that,
world nation.
yeah.
It's sad, but if you look at Burkina Faso, this young man is actually doing this same exact thing, and Russia is backing him up this time. So I don't know how this is going to pan out. I just pray that he continues doing what he's doing because he kicked the French out of there, and they got all these resources. They're doing great things. He's building real. He's doing everything that a president's supposed to do, but he has Russia backing him up. So I don't know how it's going to work out. That's
I
all I have
think
to
you
say.
better leave that deal with Russia on the table. That's how it need to work out because I kind of go from a historical standpoint on this, like, because kind of people would get confused, but not me. See, when I look at Zanzibar, and I understand what these people have done to some of these places when they was with the British controlling some of the slave trade. So that's why I say when the tables turn, people don't like that. And we gotta pay attention to how these tables been turning into certain favors. Cause we don't really gotta fight in this. We just the people, the citizens. We gotta look at what they doing behind the closed doors, like, oh, y'all been doing this. Iran been doing business with Russia That's what I said. We took over Venezuela to cut the oil off to Russia. Everything is to cut Russia out of this situation and put somebody else on it. But China, like, well, we back both of these people. So when you backing both of the superpowers trying to be the super or the mega power, then they're fighting from the back while you see certain places getting attacked that we don't have no understanding about because they're doing it to cut off somebody else's supply. That's helping fund the war. Like I said, if we was with Biden, we would be paying Ukraine billions of dollars because Russia wants to bomb it.
I mean, the war in Russia, I mean, the war in Ukraine was the doing of America themselves. In 2014, they led a coup and installed a puppet president like Zelensky, and they were trying to put in NATO right in front of Russia's border, which was their red line, even though America said that they will not, during 1991, when the Soviet fell, they will not move towards Russia. So everything that's happening right now is literally America's fault.
You don't think Russia or China had nothing to do with it? Like I said,
I mean,
you rather for them to have a bigger plan than the USA because they would go up there and take Greenland and be up in there with Canada too. You know that, right? So we'll be Americans and we got Russia right over our head in Canada and
well,
Greenland. So who you
you know,
want to
right,
have over your
well,
head, USA or
right
Russia?
now, Canada is going towards China right now. It's because of Donald Trump's tariffs he placed on them, right?
I mean, you got to because you already doing deals with them. They already was with Russia. That's what I'm
No,
saying. Like before the China deal, it was a Russia deal.
Canada did not have no deals with Russia
Okay.
or China. They were exporting, certain resources to the U.S., but Trump wanted to place tariffs on them. So Canada got tangled up with China, and now Canada is going to get BYD cars, or we're stuck with Teslas.
All right, so let's hold up. We got Living Like a Prince just came to the stage. Welcome. What you want to add to the conversation?
Oh, I walked off for a bit, so I'm not too sure what exactly you guys were just talking about. But what I was gonna say, is that I believe that the ending of every outcome is the United States going to war with China. It's just my belief, and the reason why I have that belief is because everything that we're doing, we're threatening China's national security, if that makes sense. Cutting their negotiations with Venezuela was a threat to them. Going into war with Iran was a threat to them, right? Because they get 50% of their oil supply through the Strait of Hormuz. That strait just closed down today, which means on Monday probably oil stocks are going to skyrocket. But everything is a national security to China at this point. And them not responding is dwindling more and more. They're going to be forced to respond in my opinion.
And they may be responding through other means, be it cyber or information, as it was brought out that they are engaged from a administrative point. So they just haven't.
And everything that came out as well.
Hey,
If
Sorry.
y'all
China was smart, they would just take Taiwan right now, and that would literally
gotta
mess
start it
up
off.
America.
But because y'all got to remember back in 2020 and 21 when they was testing those nuclear missiles out there in that water by California. So you got to understand we been a little conversations with them about this nuclear war. They've been wanting to start one before all this. But Trump was over there sending them fighter jets and them warships. Like, if you test another one, we just gonna strike you. So now that China then funded all of these, they fund Africa, they fund Russia, and they fund Iran. And the
All right.
backing is Russia backing Iran up. That's why they're gonna have to join in, because they're gonna shut down Russia first.
All right, we got
What
Nathaniel just came on. Nathaniel, what you want to add to the conversation? Nathaniel going once? Nathaniel going twice? Okay, Nathaniel may be having some issues finding his mic. Goosey, we hadn't heard from you in a while. What you doing over there, Goosey? You taking it all in?
Yeah, this is a very, very. I have to say, this is one of the most respectful lives that I've been listening to. I mean, you guys don't interrupt, you don't cut people off. I just want to give you some props for that, man. It's like really good atmosphere you got going on here. And I was just going to say bye now. I'm going to drop down. It's really interesting listening to you guys. Like I said, I'm not from America, but obviously whatever you guys do and whatever happens kind of impacts the rest of the world. And I just hope you guys can come together as a nation, put all your differences aside, and address the real issue that's crippling your country, and somehow try and get your politicians back on side. Maybe on the next elections, um, don't vote for anyone who doesn't put America first. I know that's going to be very, very difficult, but we're all praying that the American people can take their country back and literally save the rest of the world. Thank you very much. I'm going to drop down now, but thanks for having me up on your panel. It's been a real pleasure. And I'll be back. I followed you, and I'll be back, and I'll be listening in intently. Thank you very much.
All right, absolutely. And Goofy just, gave us our way to sign off. And, we'll do more pop-up meetings centered around this subject matter right here. I appreciate you all for joining, the live. We've been on, I believe, since like 10:30. So, it's time to take a break, and we can get back at it, if not tomorrow, the day after, tomorrow, because this conversation is an important conversation. And every time we have it, we learn something different. I know I do. Okay. And that is Operation Ajax. I'm pretty much at this point, this live has been about encouraging others to look into it and come to understand why Iran is anti US. All right. Appreciate you all. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are. And until the next time, y'all be safe.